Hey, my name is Dustin Selva with Elemental Flutes, and in this video I want to share with you guys a bunch of different drone flutes and to give you guys an idea of the different possibilities and options that are out there, as well as if you're looking to order a custom flute from me, what possibilities and what to think about for picking your drone flute. So I'm going to start off with the smallest. This is a pocket drone flute. It's 5 holes on one side and it is 0 holes on the drone side. So in the basic principle of a drone flute, you have at least 2 flutes side by side, and usually you have 2 different mouth holes, so you can play it as a single or you can play it as a double if you want to. So here's how the F sharp, this is a high pocket F sharp sounds. And they're really fun because they literally can fit right into your pocket. And so you can go for a hike and play them outside, and they're fairly loud. So when you're outside near a river, waterfall, it's really nice to have because you can hear it over top of the louder noises. And I make those in various keys. I don't have much time with all the custom orders that I do to make a whole plethora of each one of these. So really they're in almost like an individual bass by bass case, unless I get a chance to do a little bit of a batch order of them. Next, I'll go through mid-range, key of G. And so for a drone flute in the key of G, it's a really great starting flute. If you do have smaller hands, it might be nice to start with a double flute in the key of A. And you can see that it's a couple inches, an inch and a half shorter. The hole sizes are all a little bit smaller than the G, and the spacing is a fair bit closer than the G as well. So it just makes the A, just that much easier to play than the G. So if you do have like any reservations about playing a mid-range G or F sharp, and you really want to learn how to play a double flute, key of A is a really good one. I'm going to go over G because it is a double flute, and then we'll go into the triples in a little bit. So the key of G is a really nice key to start playing on. If you're familiar with playing the Native American style flute, I suggest the key of G for beginning either a double or a triple flute. Like I said though, smaller hands, probably go with key of A. So this particular flute is made out of maple. It has black walnut totems, has 6 holes on the left side and 0 on the right. So when you're looking at a drone flute, some flute makers allow you to add 3 different drone holes on the right or left side, depending on which side your 6 holes are on, as well as adding plugs. So that'll bring us to the next one, which is the exact same flute like style. It's still a shotgun style flute, but you have 3 holes in the drone side that have plugs in them, and this allows you to have 4 different drone notes. So when you play your drone, you're just literally blowing into this side, and it plays this one note along with your playing side. So when you have all of the holes plugged, you're playing the same note as the lowest on the playing side. So when you play them together, the same note, you don't hear it. because it's the same exact note. So as soon as you start playing the other notes, you'll notice that it's a drone flute. So that is the key of F sharp. And then if you want to change the drone note, you can switch this note. And so for example, when you have them all plugged, it's F sharp is your drone note. And you unplug this, it's now the note of A. And if you stay within the minor pentatonic scale, you're going to be able to play whatever you want. You're not going to really hit any wrong notes. So then you switch to the next note and you have the key, the note of A, or the note of B. And then you have your last one, which is C sharp. So on any drone flute that has these three holes, it's going to be the exact same notes as your playing side of just taking this one up, and this one up. So that's the same notes on either side. This side just doesn't have these top three holes drilled. So what that allows you to do is play in a harmony style where you have one hand on either side. So you can play both hands at the same time. You can use one hand to be a drone and play the other, and then switch the drone and play the other hand still. There's a lot of different variations that you can do, and you can see just by adding these three holes and some drone, some plugs, gives you a lot of options. So it gives you 4 different drone notes and a harmony style. So that'll bring us to the next style of drone flute, which is the Mayan temple style. So this one is basically very similar to that if you played in a harmony style. This one is just missing one note on the higher side. This flute is in the key of D, the key of A, and you have the bottom 3 holes of both flutes. And then on the back side you have thumb holes to go a half step above all holes open. You go and then a half step above that. So you have your 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then you have your minor 6th, I believe, on either side. And this one, you can play basically the same way, but you have a little bit more notes to play with on either side as a harmony style. So it's really, really nice. And basically there's 2 different styles that these are made in. Your key combinations are generally in fifths. So this is a D, your 5th higher is an A. So if you have a G, you're going to do a high D. If you have an F sharp, you're going to do C sharp. So it's always a 5th to make it easier. And if you want to make it a little more challenging, you can do a 4th, which there are wrong notes that you can hit. On this one, if you go up and down all around, there isn't any wrong notes that you can hit. With a 4th combination, then it tends to be a bit more challenging. So like F sharp instead of C sharp would be a B, and then it'd be a little bit more challenging. They can be made in higher range or even really deep bass style. I have made them in like bass B with the corresponding note, which I forget at the moment. And so yeah, those are really, really fun. This one's made out of aromatic cedar. So from those are kind of all the double flute combinations, and I have made these with For example, if you do 2 holes on the A side, it gives you a minor pentatonic 5-hole flute with 2 plugs on the top here, so that you can choose to play it as a Mayan tempo, or you can play it as a minor pentatonic as well. And then if you plug the bottom here, you get a bass note, or you can take them all out, you get your A and you play an A with your A drone. So I know that can get fairly complicated, but I also have made 6 holes, and plugs on both sides, which gives you a lot of options there too. It just tends to get to be a lot of plugs and a lot to think about. So I don't recommend it for a beginner. So let's go ahead and go to the triple drone flute. And the triple drone flute, I'll have kind of like the mid-range spread here to show you guys the differences. This is the key of A, the littler one, and this is the key of bass D. And you can see the size difference, and you can see the hole spread difference if you line them up, and the whole size difference. So a lot of people love the bass sound of the bass D. It can be fairly challenging to play, especially as a triple. Double is not as bad. The triple can be a little bit more challenging. So the A is going to be one of the easiest ones to learn on and to play, because the hole sizes are smaller and the holes are closer together, like I had said before. So let me go ahead and play the A for you, and then I have kind of the gamut of what we can go through here is A, G, F sharp, F, E, D, which gives you an idea of all the different mid-range sounds. So the way that I like to play these is as a single, as a double with a low note, double as a harmony style, and then as a triple just as kind of a crescendo, kind of like the more strong part of the song. When you think about it that way, it's fairly easy to transition from this flute with 3 holes in it to a triple, because basically what you're doing is you're having this flute configuration with the plugs in playing it, and then when you take it out and play it as a harmony on a triple, you're literally switching from one side to the other. And then so you're basically doing the exact same thing, and if you want to play it as a triple, you just blow in all 3 and you're doing nothing different. So a lot of people can get a little intimidated by moving from a double to a triple, but it's really not that much different. The biggest thing is the size and just the playability in the hands. So from your A, we can go into something a little different, which is the next note up with G. This one's a little bit more complicated. This one is basically 2 different scales in one flute. So you have an E Aeolian on the right side, and you have the minor pentatonic on the left. And in the middle, you have the 3 bottom holes of the Aeolian plugged. So this gives you the option of playing it as a G or G minor. You can also play all the scales in that 6-hole style of a Native American style flute. So you get gypsy, you get Middle Eastern, relative major, major. The major is really challenging with the covering, half-holing of that bottom note on this particular flute. So here's how it sounds with the regular G drone. And this one tends to be played more as 2 different doubles than a triple, because I don't have plugs for all of them. If you were to plug all these, then you can make it more of a triple configuration. And so again, you have these different notes to choose from with your drone. With it being an Aeolian configuration, you don't have the same notes as your regular 6-hole and then the same 3 holes, because they're just different notes. And then you have the Aeolian. So then you can switch back and forth. Play other scales. So it gives you a lot of different versatility without having to switch a flute. You can switch the vibe really easily. So that's the key of G. So that's A, G. The next one will be F sharp. I believe that's what this one is. Yes. So here's F sharp. So F sharp. And then we have the key of F. Very similar, it's just a half step different, just a little bit lower. So you can see as we're going deeper, the flutes are getting slightly bigger, and they do also get a little bit heavier, especially on the heavier, denser woods. So once you get to this size, I recommend doing a bit of a lighter wood, such as like poplar, or I use a maple sometimes, that it's a lighter maple. There's also cedar and a couple other woods, depending on like black walnut, or depending on camphor. It could be a denser wood, it could be a lighter wood, so it all depends. Same with koa, it can be a denser wood or it can be a lighter wood, so you just need to kind of like assess it when I look at the piece of wood. And then also mango is a really good one for bigger flutes as well. So that brings us to the key of E, and I have 2 different ones here to show you. This one is an Aeolian, just like the G, except this one's all Aeolian. So it just has Aeolian in the middle, Aeolian 3 bottom ones on the left, and then E drone on the right. So this one, you're really limited to the scale of Aeolian, or if you can figure out other scales using the note combinations here, you might be able to do major fairly easily. So that's Aeolian. This is black walnut. Black walnut is one of my favorite woods to work with, just because it's kind of a mid-range, not too dense, not too light, depending on the black walnut, and it has a great tonality, and it's nice to work with. The next one, this is Purple Heart in the key of E. So the difference is I use different bore sizes for Aeolian and for the key of E. So for the minor pentatonic or the 6-hole regular style flute, the key of E tends to just jump up and get a little bit bigger. So if you're worried about having a too big a flute, I suggest at the biggest F if you want something more bassy but still be able to play it relatively easy, because it is the same bore size and the same width, the same thickness as the G, F sharp, and F. So this one is a little bit bigger, starting at E, and then D as well is the same size in width and in thickness, E and D. So here's E in the minor pentatonic in Purple Heart, and the bottom is black walnut. And Purple Heart is a little bit more dense, so it can be a little bit more heavy, so this is a little bit of a heftier flute. So E is really nice once you get to the lower bassier tones for sound healing and getting into the deeper spaces with that. So the next one, this is one that's kind of been one of my more requested, is the bass D triple, and it's the largest triple that I make as a standalone triple where you just have the same root note of all of them. So D, D, and D. And here's how this one sounds. And this is Padauk on the top and black walnut on the bottom. So once you go to a bigger flute, it takes more air as well. So it's something to keep in mind that on an A, you're going to be able to play it as a triple about 1.5 times to 2 times longer as a D, just because of the relative size difference and how much more air you're blowing through 3 bigger flutes versus 3 smaller flutes. So the last flute I have to show is similar to the G with the Aeolian and the minor pentatonic. This one is F sharp, C sharp. All of it is based on the minor pentatonic scale. You can play other scales with it. It's chromatically tuned. So you have 6 holes F sharp on the right side, 3 holes with plugs in the middle in F sharp, and then 6 holes on the left side in C sharp. So it gives you a lot of versatility. And again, it's something I really love if you're wanting to just kind of have like a flute that you can do a lot of different things with in one flute. So you could have, especially if you plug all of the holes. So that's something I do as well, where you plug every single hole. And what you can do is you take the bottom 3 plugs out on the right, bottom 3 plugs out on the left, leave the top 3 plugged, and then you have a Mayan temple flute. So then you also have in this configuration a double Mayan temple flute or a triple Mayan temple flute. Or you can plug this whole side, have a C sharp drone, plug this, you have an F sharp drone, and then you can play it as a triple with a C sharp and an F sharp, exactly in this style. So it gives you just tons and tons of options. I think I did the math and it was something around like 20 different flutes. So with this style of flute, you have the option of doing so many different types of keys. Really, the sky's the limit. I've done really large bass drones like that in the key of, one of them I did was 2 mid-range in the key of E with a bass A. Another one that I've done would be like 2 bass Bs with a, I believe it was F sharp for the mid-range. And you could leave them as a Mayan temple configuration. You could do this type of style with all 6 holes on either sides with 3 in the middle, plugging all of them to give you the most options. But really you can do it in high pitch, you can do it in low pitch. As long as you stay within the fifths is what I recommend. It really makes it a user-friendly flute, and it gives you just, you know, like I said, 20 different options. So the last thing I'll say is I customize these flutes. So this particular flute has 3 different designs somebody requested. Has a frog inlaid with malachite. It has a bear inlaid with a black shungite with flecks of turquoise that they requested, and the tree of life with I put a little bit of red opal in the top leaves area, which they also requested. So the designs that I offer are pretty basic on most of my flutes, but it gives you the option of adding something that is unique to you. If you want like your logo or something that you do for your own sound healing or whatever it is that you do, we could put something on there for you. Inlay it with multiple stone colors or just a regular plain stone of one color. Those are what I offer on my website. So if you go on there, elementalflutes.com, and you select a flute that you're interested in buying that has no designs on it, you can add on 1 or 2 different designs, and you can choose to add on add inlay of the crushed stone if that's something that you're interested in. And if you don't see something there that you would like to add, just reach out to me and I'm happy to chat with you about it. Also, check out my website for a tutorial or a course on how to play flutes. It brings you through how to hold the flute, breath pressure, the different scale, the main scale that you want to learn on, and a couple different scales that you can branch off on. Brings you through an entire song on how to play the song and how to add the different embellishments to it. So how to bend your finger, how to trill your fingers, how to use tonguing techniques, and more in that course. I also have a gypsy course on there, so if you want to learn how to play the gypsy scale on the regular 6-hole Native American style flute, I do have that there as well. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Feel free to leave comments down below with any questions. And yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and thank you so much for watching.